They took the microphone from my hand at my own event. Cameras flashed. My daughter stood beside me in a soft gray dress, eyes kind, smile calm. A woman in a plain suit waited by the stage. Few people noticed her. I did. She was the stranger. I was about to give her everything. I could feel my hands shaking. I could taste metal in my mouth. I told myself to breathe. I told myself not to cry. I told myself this was the plan. To understand how I reached that moment, we have to go back to the day my daughter told me I was not needed. But before we go in, like and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comment, on the scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? The factory floor hummed that morning. The air smelled like citrus and clean steel. Light moved across the glass lines like quiet water. My daughter, Eliza, walked in with a folder and a smile that had soothed me since she was small. She touched my elbow. She spoke in a gentle voice. She said the board wanted new leadership. She said I had done enough. She said she would protect my legacy. She said this would be easier for me. I stood at the window and watched bottles slide into their cartons. I thought of her father. I thought of how we had started with nothing. I thought of all the nights we slept in the office on coats because the boiler failed. I did not argue. I did not yell. I nodded. I told her we would discuss it later. She looked relieved. She left the folder on my desk like a bouquet at a grave. The next days turned cruel in small ways. My badge failed at the lab door. A junior sent a message in a group chat that was not meant for me. It said I would be happier knitting. A deck went around with my name faded to gray on a chart. Near my box on the slide, a neat arrow said, Emeritus. I stared at the tiny arrow for a long time. I waited until the building emptied. I sat in my office alone. I listened to the machines run without me. That night, I laid the old papers on my kitchen table. The deed, the first loan, a photo of me and my husband at 23, grease on our hands, joy on our faces. I put his lucky coin beside the papers. He used to flip it when decisions scared us. Sometimes a penny buys a future, he would say. He is gone now. The coin is still heavy. The first hit to our money arrived like a bruise. 3 vendors called. They asked if our payment terms changed. The portal said we had switched to net 90. We had not. Then the bank called. They said we breached a covenant. A ratio did not make sense. I met with the CFO, Ethan. He smiled like a man giving a eulogy. He said the market was jittery. He said a consultant was coming. He said it was routine. In the conference room, a woman I did not know sat with a laptop. Plain suit, hair pulled back. She did not look up. No one introduced her. She was quiet. She felt out of place and stubborn at the same time. I noticed her because everyone else did not. Small signs began to stack up. A sedan idled outside my home at night. It was there. It was gone. It left a line of smoke under the street lamp. In the morning, my doormat was flipped. On my car windshield, an envelope held a copy of one of our check stubs. A note in block letters said, Check Cold Room 3. No return address. My name was not on it. My heart raced anyway. I went before sunrise. Cold Room 3 bit through my coat. Rows of pallets stood like walls. Labels looked normal from far away. Up close, the ink smelled wrong. I peeled a corner. A second label hid under the first. The second label belonged to a third-party company we did not use for that product. The listed address was not our warehouse. It was a storage unit in Deerfield. The camera in the corner blinked a small red light. I counted pallets. The numbers did not match the system. I left my glove print on the steel door. I could not stop my hands from shaking. I called my daughter for dinner. I wanted to see her eyes. We met at the club. She ordered for me. She spoke in soft waves. She said change was hard but good. She said vision needed courage. She said, "We," a lot. She took my hand. She promised to carry the weight. She did not mention the cold room. She did not ask why I looked tired. I smiled. I nodded. I let her talk. I watched her fold her napkin into a small, precise square. On the inside edge, she had written 2 words in tiny letters. Press Friday. My chest went cold again. I kept smiling. I tasted the bread. It felt like sand. The next morning, a burner phone buzzed behind syrup cases in storage B. I do not use burner phones. I picked it up with a napkin. A text said, Friday 9 a.m., move the secondary. It was signed with the letter K. I took photos with my old camera because I do not trust clouds. At 9:02 a.m. on Friday, I watched from a dark corner near the mezzanine. A forklift I did not know rolled in fast and quiet. Ethan stepped out of the shadows. He signed a clipboard. He looked left, then right. He did not look up. He did not see me. He waved the driver through. 2 pallets disappeared. I did not call the police. Not yet. I called my lawyer. He is old. He is blunt. He asked me if I was ready to act. I said yes. We drafted papers that night. We arranged a trust. We set protections. We named seats for people who actually work on the floor. We wrote rules I wish I had written years ago. We set the stranger in the plain suit as first trustee. Her name is Mara. She once pulled our driver out of a ditch in a snowstorm with a tow strap. She once kept a kid from bleeding by using her own belt. She has never had a title. She has grit. She also has a sick old dog named Honeybee. I like that most of all. People who care for old dogs care for other fragile things. The day before the gala, an internal memo leaked. It said I would get a tribute video. It said Eliza would announce a new era. It also held a clip from a business blog. The clip claimed we had a cash crisis. It named me as the stubborn founder who would not change. It praised my daughter as brave and modern. It showed a blurred image of pallets in a cold room. Eliza's voice over the music said we believed in transparency. I stared at the word until it felt like a threat. At the gala, the room glittered. Flowers and crystal crowded the air. I could barely breathe. My makeup was put on by a stranger who called me Mom, as if it would comfort me. Eliza looked like a leader and a miracle. The stranger, Mara, sat on a couch by the wall. No one offered her water. She folded her hands. She watched the door. She was steady. I stepped on stage. I told the story of our beginning in simple words. People laughed once. Then I lifted my husband's coin for the cameras. I said, "It is time to make a decision." I announced the trust. I announced that I had given my shares to it. I explained that 1 seat on the new board would go to a line worker, one to shipping, one to maintenance, one to the lab. I said the trust would protect jobs, safety, and solvency. I said the company could not be sold from under our people again. I named Mara as the first trustee. The room sucked in air. Investors looked at each other. Ethan sat forward too fast. My daughter put her palm on my back. She spoke into a mic that was not hers. She said we had discussed options. She said this was not the plan. I said it was done. I held up the legal papers. The projector showed the state seal, the notary stamp, my signature. Everything in me felt both heavy and clean. Eliza moved to the screens. A video started. It showed me in the lab, smiling. It showed tired headlines about old companies that fail. It showed my daughter saying hard things about culture. Then it showed a blurred still of pallets and a man signing a clipboard. The caption said, "Temporary reroute during maintenance." The music wanted me to look like yesterday and Eliza like tomorrow. I stood still. I waited. I changed the screen. I showed the camera feed from Cold Room 3 at 9:02 a.m. Ethan signed the clipboard. The company name on the truck was clear now. The address on the work order was the Deerfield storage unit. I kept my voice even. A woman in a black dress walked in from the side aisle. She introduced herself as counsel for the trust. She said a forensic review found a pattern. She said pallets went missing. She said a shell company existed. She said the shell was registered by Raphael Ethan Carter. She said the Attorney General's office had the file. Security moved toward Ethan. He went pale. He looked at my daughter with the eyes of a drowning man. She did not look back. He was never the point. He was the shield. He did not know it yet. I could have stopped there. That would have been the neat ending. Bad CFO caught. Proud mother saved. Loyal daughter shocked and blameless. But that was not the truth. The truth had a small, mean edge, and it lived under my ribs. I had found another document in a folder named Gala Final. It was a bank consent letter with my signature on it. The letter authorized a draw I had never approved. The signature looked like mine, but the downstrokes were too clean. My pen leaks a little when I am tired. This one did not. I held it under light. The printer pattern flickered. It was not real. I said my daughter's name. I did not raise my voice. I told the room I had believed her. I said she had told me I was not needed. I said I listened. Then I said what I had learned. I said she had set up a covenant breach by letting inventory pile up. I said she had planned a press push to frame the story. I said she had forged my name on at least one letter. I said she had registered the shell through someone else. I said she had asked Ethan to move pallets, then planned to blame him. I said she had chosen Friday because she thought I hated spectacle and would fold. The room went so quiet the lights buzzed. My sister covered her mouth. A man near the bar whispered, "No." Eliza stood with her hands at her sides. She did not cry. She did not shout. She spoke calmly. She said I had made my whole life inside that building and forgotten how to live. She said she had protected the company by forcing it to change. She said men did this all the time and were called bold. She said she would not be ashamed for being strong. A clip played that she had not meant for the world to see. It came from her office camera. In the recording, her voice was low and careful. She said, "If we do it Friday, she will be too busy to stop us. Ethan can take the fall and still get his bonus if he keeps quiet." I told the room her assistant had sent this to me, shaking at 2 a.m. I did not name the assistant. I will not put a target on a young woman's back. Security took Ethan by the arm. He did not fight. He looked broken, not innocent, but smaller. Investors stared at their shoes. One of the old board members resigned that night. She said she needed time for family. The business blog posted a correction. Then another. The room emptied slow and messy. as if it had rained inside. After the last guest left, the band packed up. The janitors started sweeping. My daughter stood at the edge of the stage. She stared at the place where I had held up the coin. She typed something on her phone. She erased it. She folded a napkin into a perfect square. On the crease, in small letters, I saw 2 words: try again. Then she set the napkin on the lectern and walked away without a sound. The next morning, the trust held its first meeting. It felt strange and good. A shipping clerk in a borrowed blazer spoke. His hands shook. He said we needed more caps on line 2. He was right. Mara sat at the head of the table and listened. She made 3 choices I would not have made. All 3 worked. She sent flowers to a widow and charged the card to me. I sent her flowers back, smaller. Not out of spite, out of humor, out of habit, out of love for people who keep old dogs alive and factories honest. The aftershocks hit my house in waves. Reporters called, friends texted, neighbors left pie. I did not answer for a while. I changed the name in my phone from Eliza to Eliza Blood. It helped me remember a boundary. It hurt anyway. 2 weeks later, she came to my door alone. The porch light hummed. Rain drew thin lines across the steps. I opened the door because part of me will always open the door. She looked young without the armor. She asked if I loved her. I said yes. She asked if I trusted her. I said no. Not now. She swallowed and nodded. She said she would pay back what she took. She said it would take time. I said that is what time is for. She did not come in. She left. People say the story is simple. Daughter betrays mother. Mother takes revenge. Company saved by a brave act. It is not simple. It is heavy. It is ugly. It is full of a love that has nowhere to go. I did not punish my daughter to feel strong. I protected the people who make our work real. I put the company in hands that turn bolts and mop floors and check seals at 3 a.m. when alarms scream. I gave control to a stranger because I had watched the stranger show up when no one else did. The scapegoat paid, too. Ethan was charged. He cut a deal. He named names. He cried in a small room under harsh lights. He is a grown man and knew better. He is also a symptom. He wanted to matter. He took a shortcut. He followed a star that was never meant for him. I felt a brief sting of pity, and then I let it go. I do not have room for pity that gets in the way of clean math. Vendors called and worked with us. Some took net 30, some took net 45. The union steward sent me a photo of the first checks under the trust. Workers smiled like they had forgotten how to smile. I cried in my car where no one could see me. I keep my husband's coin in a small velvet box. Mara had the coin cleaned for the photos, then brought the old one back to me. She said the new coin could live in the lobby. She said the old coin should live in my hand. She is right. The old coin is scratched. It has weight. It remembers us. It reminds me that sometimes the smallest act is the one that changes the whole story. I also keep the napkin with the words "try again." I take it out once a week. I look at the neat fold. I think about the little girl who used to press her small hand against mine, palm to palm, trying to match the length of my fingers. I think about the woman she became, so sure the world only respects a hard edge. I pray she learns a different edge. I pray she learns that strength without care is a kind of rot. I pray I learn to forgive her in a way that does not invite the same hurt back in. Months passed. The machines kept their rhythm. The river by the loading dock rose and fell with the seasons. We had a small accident on line 1. No one died. The response was fast. The report was honest. The trust bought new guards for the belt. We printed the rule on a poster in large black letters. It said, "We fix, we do not hide." People pointed at it when they walked by. They touched the paper with their hands. They smudged it with work. On a quiet Sunday, I drove past the storage units in Deerfield. The roll-up doors were open. Air moved dust around, like ghosts. I parked. I did not get out. I thought about how easy it is to slide a pallet into a dark room and tell yourself no one will notice. I thought about how easy it is to frame a man who is willing to be framed. I thought about my daughter's face when I told the truth. I put the car back in gear. I went home. I made tea. I did not drink it. Time has a way of filing the sharp edges down. Not fast, not clean, but steady. After many months, my daughter sent a short message. It said she was paying a debt each week. It said it would take years. It said she had closed the shell company. It said she had told the bank what she did. I read it 3 times. I wrote back 1 sentence. I said I hoped she was sleeping. I said sleep helps a person want to be good. I pressed send. I went for a walk by the river. The air smelled like citrus and rain. Sometimes I stand by the time clock and watch people punch out. They laugh. They argue about a game. They talk about a child's piano recital. They complain about parking. It is ordinary. It is beautiful. I think this is what a business is supposed to protect. Not a name on a building, not a headline at a gala, not a photo on a glossy page. It is supposed to protect small, normal lives from large, stupid risks. When I lock my door at night, I hang the old apron on the chair. The lemons on the print have faded. The fabric is soft. It smells like my life. I set the coin next to it. I whisper his name. I whisper hers. I whisper mine. I tell the kitchen the machines are still running. I tell the dark I did not fail. I tell myself I am allowed to rest. You want a lesson from this. You want a clear line. Here is what I can give. When someone you love says you are not needed, pause. When they say it with a smile, pause longer. Check your locks. Check your labels. Check the signatures. Watch who moves pallets on Friday mornings. Watch who writes notes on napkins. Trust the stranger who shows up in the snow with a toe strap. Trust the person who uses their belt to stop a bleed. Give the power to those hands. Not to force, not to spite, to protect, to hold, to last. And if the person who called you mother ever comes back with an empty face and a heavy heart, open the door once. Let the rain speak. Answer only what is asked. Love is not a blank check. It is a ledger. It must balance. Mine does now. The hum of the line is steady. The glass sings. The river moves. The lights turn off at midnight. The floor shines in the morning. That is enough. That is everything.